Hey, what's going on, Who That Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast. Thank you so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. On this edition, we're going to be talking about quarterback Drew Brees and answering the question, will Drew Brees get his fairy tale ending? And the reason why I came up with this topic is because I'm pretty sure that some of you already have seen some of the articles and some of the topics that are going on in the sports world that are saying that quarterback Drew Brees is going to hang it up after this season, and he is going to transition into his commentary career with NBC. He did sign a contract in the offseason with NBC, and he's supposed to be working with them after he retires. So, the question is he going to get his fairy tale ending? Will Drew Brees ride off into the sunset like some of the other greats that have played the game, like John Elway, Peyton Manning, Jerome Bettis, people like that, Ray Lewis, will he get his swan song? And first off, man, it's just the thought of Drew Brees hanging it up when you think about it, man. It really does kind of just make you emotional as a Saints fan. Me being a Saints fan since I was about 3 or 4 years old, I can just remember some bad times with the Saints organization. There was always hope there that this would be the Saints year. They'll finally get over that hump. But there were some dark ages in New Orleans. Growing up as a kid, it used to be embarrassing, to wear a Saints starter jacket. I grew up in the 90s where starter jackets were hot. The hottest starter jacket you can get was a Cowboys, 49ers. You can even throw a Green Bay Packer in there. But if you was walking around with a Saints starter jacket, people would laugh you out of school. If you had a Saints hat on or a Saints shirt, people would, kind of make fun of you. It was that bad, when it comes to the Saints organization. And, like I said, there's always been that level of optimism. And then, Hurricane Katrina hit back in 2005, and, the city didn't know if it was going to be back, and the team didn't know it was going to be back, because at this time, Tom Benson was considering moving the team to San Antonio for good, even though, that's where the Saints were playing during Katrina. But then a 6-foot-tall, 209-pound quarterback with a bum arm signed with the New Orleans Saints, and we didn't know what to make of this, man. We didn't know if Drew Brees was damaged goods or if he was going to pan out, but it ended up being one of the best decisions this organization has ever made. His first season, he brought the Saints to the NFC Championship game. They came up short, ironically, against the Chicago Bears, the same team they're going to play in the postseason. And he's given us so many great moments over the past 15 years here as a New Orleans Saints fan. So just thinking about Drew Brees and him hanging it up, I mean, it can get a little bit emotional to me as a fan. I do want Drew Brees to get his swan song. I do want Drew Brees to get his fairy tale ending, because he deserves it. Regardless if you want to talk about Drew Brees like, post Super Bowl era and him taking as much money and, the Saints not being able to build a defense around him. You got a lot of people that feel that way. But Drew Brees made the Saints organization, made the Saints team tolerable to watch, okay? Regardless if they had a defense or not, whether they had a running game or not, you always believed that you had a chance to win because Drew Brees was on the field. And I just feel bad that the organization didn't really do too much to try to put a defense around him, because I feel like if they did, then, they probably would have had more Super Bowl opportunities, more playoff opportunities. But right now, over the past 3 to 4 years, from 2017 on to the present, the Saints have put together some of the best draft classes, and also got some of the best offseason acquisitions they can possibly find to get to this particular point. And I do feel like the New Orleans Saints have their best opportunity this year to go all the way to the Super Bowl, because this is one of those years that this is like the only year I can think about that I can really truly say that the Saints can actually win without Drew Brees carrying this team. And we've seen this on different occasions where Drew Brees was out with the cracked ribs. We've seen this when the running game was percolating. We've seen with the Minnesota Vikings game, Alvin Kamara took over that game. And it's so great to see that he doesn't have to carry the team. All he has to do is just do his job, not turn the ball over, and get the ball where it needs to be to the playmakers. And, I do feel like the Saints can't go all the way. We all know that sometimes they can have some hiccups, but I'm more optimistic about this season than seasons past. And Drew Brees deserves to go out and retire as a Super Bowl champion. So hopefully they can get it done. Hopefully he can get his fairy tale ending because, I would love to see Drew Brees go and retire and leave in the last moment that we see his confetti falling down on number 9 because he's a Super Bowl champion. And also I just think that it will help his legacy because, they got some haters out there, man. They got some people out there that don't want to give Drew Brees his credit. They don't want to put Drew Brees in that top 10 conversation. They're always trying to discredit him. And most of the time when people talk about him today, I'm talking about the prognosticators. They're always trying to talk about, he's damaged goods or he can't throw the ball down the field. It's always something negative. It's never like anything too positive, okay? And even like when he does something positive, like throw for a whole bunch of yards, they make it seem like anybody can do it. They make it seem like anybody can just go out there, throw for 80,000 yards. Like anybody can just take a snake-bitten franchise and make them legit. Like they just make it seem like anybody could do this. And I just feel like that's a slap in the face. And I don't even think it should be of any – I don't know, man. I don't feel like this should even be a debate about where Drew Brees stands in the sands of time because I'm going to be 100% with you. If we looked at Drew Brees like we look at somebody like LeBron James, right? Okay, let's look at it this way, right? The first 2 championships LeBron James got, a lot of people put asterisks by it, right? They put an asterisk by LeBron James championships because they were like, well, look, man, look who you did it with. You did it with Chris Bosh. You did it with Dwayne Wade out there in Miami. But when he took the Cleveland Cavaliers to the NBA Finals and he beat one of the best teams with the Golden State Warriors, everybody started to give this man his credit because he took lowly Cleveland, a snake-bitten franchise, a titleless city. He put it on his back, and he brought that city a championship. And everybody says that championship was it basically took him to the next level, and it kind of put him in the upper echelon when it comes to the all-time greats. So I don't understand like why you can't do that with Drew Brees. I mean, because you have to look at the organization, the Saints organization as a whole, and how it was before he got here and how people look at it now. So I don't understand like how anybody can discredit this guy based on what this guy has done in the organization that he did it with. So I really don't understand that. And I understand the media, they tries to put their own, little darlings in that category. They love their Tom Brady's. They love their Aaron Rodgers. They love their Patrick Mahomes. But I just feel like, Drew Brees was one of those guys that, just because he's not the most exciting guy and maybe he doesn't, have that rock star life or that exciting life. And I just think that a lot of people just kind of take him for granted. And even us in the Who Dat Nation, sometimes we take him for granted. I know I have. I've taken Drew Brees for granted because, since he's been here, we always had stellar quarterback play. We always had that great quarterback play. We always knew that we could count on Drew Brees to get us where we need to be. And it's almost as if no matter how many touchdowns the team is down, like they can be down 3 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns, and we still feel like in the back of my mind, they okay. It's just this level of comfort that Drew Brees gives us, and sometimes we take that for granted. And we also take for granted that he has given us so many great moments, and now that he is not the quarterback that he once was when he was in his prime, we take that for granted. And I don't want to be like that. Drew Brees deserves to go out on his own time. I mean, just for the simple fact that, all the things that he did in the city of New Orleans, and he's still playing at a high level. It may not be, the most sexiest, because sometimes I think we fall into that trap as fans. We fall into that trap when we're watching people like Patrick Mahomes with the arm talent, Aaron Rodgers with the arm talent, Josh Allen with the arm talent, and the prognosticators telling us this is what a real quarterback is. This is what true quarterbacking is all about. The exciting no-look passes, the, drop it in little small places, 60-yard bombs off the back foot. It's telling us that that's the way the quarterback position needs to be played. But I'd rather have a quarterback that gets the ball where it needs to be with precision and good timing than somebody that just can wow you with great arm talent. I always often use the example, Jeff George had great arm talent. Rob Johnson had great arm talent, but those guys never panned out. Brock Osweiler had good arm talent. But it's about getting the ball where it needs to be. And I will have to say that Drew Brees is the most accurate quarterback. He is the most precise quarterback of all time. And even though I want to see him win a Super Bowl, I don't feel like an additional Super Bowl validates him as being one of the all-time greats. I think you have to put him into that category. And another thing people try to do is they say he threw for all these yards and they look at the era. But a lot of the rule changes took place probably like 4 or 5 years after Drew Brees got to New Orleans. And he threw for like 5,000 yards at least 3 of those times, before they actually did the rule change where you can't go at a quarterback's leg or try to slam him down to the ground. So he always was efficient and he always, did what he needed to do. So I think people just need to give him his credit in that regard too. And, I also just feel like, they'll elevate other quarterbacks if they do the same thing Drew Brees does, but they just make it seem like it ain't nothing when he does. And that's something I just I'm just not feeling, man. I'm just not feeling that at all. But we in the Who Dat Nation, we love Drew Brees. We thank him for the moment. And as time goes on, then we'll begin to talk about this a little bit more. But if this is his last run, hopefully he can get it done. The team can get it done. And, we don't have any heartbreaks in the Who Dat Nation, because it would be sad that this team has collectively been together and they have put all this great talent on the team and they have absolutely nothing to show for it except for a couple NFC South T-shirts, which is nothing to, sneeze at. I mean, that's a great accomplishment to win your division 4 straight times and also sweep your division, the first team to do that. But I'm pretty sure that the Saints would trade that all in for a couple shots at a Super Bowl championship. So that's the way I feel about it. Drew Brees, we're in the Who Dat Nation. We appreciate you. And we're looking forward to seeing what you can do going into the playoffs in the postseason. Right now, I submitted a little status on Facebook, facebook.com, search The State of the Saints podcast. And I asked you all to send questions to me. Send me your questions and, I'll answer a few of them. So right now I'm going to do a little Saints Q&A. And the first question that I have, it comes from Travis Johnson. Travis says, are you concerned about our secondary going into the playoffs when possibly facing time like Green Bay again? Well, I guess he's saying, are you concerned about the secondary going into the playoff when possibly we can face Green Bay again? So I guess that's what he's saying. So this is what I feel. I'm not concerned about the secondary. I just think that that's something that is in the back of our minds. The secondary not playing well at crucial times. And I think that we still have that in the back of our minds like last year, right? When the Saints played the Minnesota Vikings and Adam Thielen went off and, Stephon Diggs, he was held in check, but he caught passes where it mattered most on third down. And, and Dalvin Cook catching the ball out of the backfield. But I'm not concerned about the Saints secondary. Look, I just feel like this team is battle-tested. Just call me naive, call me delusional, but I do feel like this team is battle-tested. And also, I just feel like they got the right leadership in the secondary. If somebody like Malcolm Jenkins, I mean, you can have your opinion about Malcolm all you want to, but I do feel like Malcolm Jenkins has seen it all and done it all. And he has calmed down and played a lot better, going down the stretch. And, I don't do my analysis based on play to play like some folk. That really kind of drives me crazy. Like when people like look at a game, they see a couple of plays and all of a sudden they up here yelling the guy sucks or why we got this guy. Like I understand that football is about emotions, is a game of emotions, but man, look, we need to chill out, and I feel like Malcolm Jenkins, for the most part, has done a really good job in his second stint with the New Orleans Saints. And I just feel like the secondary is different. You got people like Marcus Williams. Hopefully he'll be back for the playoff game. He's become a better tackle. He's more tackler. He's more physical. That's something that was missing. And also he's a ball hawk. Patrick Robinson has been playing pretty good, when he was in the lineup. Janoris Jenkins and Marshawn Lattimore, those guys complement each other really well. And also there's a great rotation in the secondary. So do I feel like there's probably going to be some passes down the field, probably some big plays? Absolutely, man, because that's what it's all about. It's playoff football, man. You're going to get the best of the best, right? Teams are coming up with their best offensive game plans to try to move the football, to try to get more points than the opposition. So if a play gets dialed up and somebody catches a pass down the field, I mean, I'm not going to be all discouraged and stuff like that, because those wide receivers get paid a lot of money to catch the football too. That's what I don't understand. You know what I'm saying? That's what I don't get at times. I don't understand, like, why people just think that, if a cornerback gets a pass caught on him, he sucks. Like, these wide receivers are really good. They're really talented, and they get paid money to catch the football. So I don't base my judgment on a couple plays. I just don't do that, and I don't think you should either. So I'm not concerned about the secondary. The secondary has been playing pretty well, and I think they'll rise to the occasion going through the postseason. Until they prove me wrong, that's the way I feel. Next question comes from T. John White. T. John says, do you think the Saints will draft a quarterback in the first round? Who do you think is Brees' heir? Well, first off, I don't think that the Saints are going to draft a quarterback in the first round. And it's for the simple fact that I don't feel like Sean Payton really cares for young quarterbacks. I think he liked those seasoned veterans that don't really need that much maintenance and polishing. First off, when you've been in the National Football League for X amount of years, the game starts to slow down for you, right? So if the game already slowed down, that's probably the I say it's the toughest part, right? The game slowing down for you. And I feel like if you get a seasoned veteran, the game is slowed down and they have a little bit of talent, a little bit of ability, you can actually shape them and mold them if they have that made up mind and willing to learn, and they have the intangibles in order for them to be a solid quarterback. And I just feel like Sean Payton really believes in Taysom Hill and Jameis Winston. I don't feel like it was a mistake. I feel like Sean Payton learned his lesson last season with Teddy Bridgewater. I think it was, I think Teddy would have still been with the New Orleans Saints if he never took the field. And I just think that Taysom Hill getting that opportunity, all the while having Jameis in your back pocket. The last moment that people have of Jameis Winston is him having 35 turnovers, 30 interceptions, So I just think that he feels like he can fix Jameis, and I think he really believes in Taysom. So I don't feel like they're going to try to get a quarterback in the first round. I don't see that happening. I think the Saints need to focus on getting another pass rush in the first round. I think that's the direction that they need to go in. The Saints need, somebody to get to the quarterback. I don't know if they're going to be able to keep Trey Hendrickson, especially if the Saints make it all the way to the Super Bowl. I don't see that happening. Them keeping Trey Hendrickson. I ain't talking about the Super Bowl. I'm talking about Trey Hendrickson. But so if you can get yourself another pass rush, because quite frankly, I don't know if, Marcus Davenport is going to ever be what we expect him to be. And I hope I'm wrong with that, but you can't be around here, still wondering and wishing and asking and praying that this guy pans out. I mean, you got to move forward. So hopefully the Saints, end up getting somebody that can actually get to the quarterback, rather it be, a linebacker or a defensive end, a linebacker that can actually rush a quarterback and, also, be able to help when it comes to coverage. Next question is from Trevi Stewart. Says, do you think we will have a strong running game versus the Bears? I think that is possible. The way that the Saints offensive line has been playing over the last few games has been outstanding. I do feel like if they're up to the task, I think that they can run the football. But it all depends on Sean Payton, and it all depends on if the Saints, don't play themselves out of the running game. Sometimes the Saints start so slow and teams get ahead of them sometimes you have to eliminate the running game in order for you to play catch up. And I think that's something that teams are going to try to do. The teams are going to try to jump on the Saints, try to get that lead. And a lot of teams wait for Sean Payton to start to panic and want to throw the football all over the place using Drew Brees. And people just aren't afraid of Drew Brees like they once were. Like a lot of people are actually counting on Drew Brees throwing the football more so than the Saints running attack, because the Saints running attack is really effective. When you have somebody like Alvin Kamara, Latavius Murray, guys that can get you 5-6 yards a carry, that's dangerous to, you know what I'm saying? And especially if you start to let Drew Brees cook with the play action, then you're really in trouble. So I do feel like the running game can, get started in this game, but it all depends on if the Saints can start fast. For the last couple of weeks, I've been really impressed with the way the Saints have started games. They've been they're opening drives. They went down the field and they're scoring touchdowns instead of field goals. Even if you're kicking field goals, at least that you have that 3-0 lead. So if you end up, getting a 3-and-out on defense, you'll be able to get the ball back and you'll still be able to commit to your game plan. So I do feel like the Saints running game can be activated in this game, but I just think that it's up to Sean Payton. Sean Payton has got to make sure that he's running the football. And offensive line, they got to be physical, because the Chicago Bears are a physical football team. They have some really good pass rushers. They got Robert Quinn, Danny Trevathan, and Roquan Smith, even though he's in question right now. And they got Akeem Hicks. And also you have Mario Edwards, a guy that's a former, Saint that's with the Chicago Bears, had a good solid game last week. So these guys are ready to go out there and try to perform, man, and trust and believe. They're not looking at records when they go out here and facing the Saints. So these guys are going to be up to the task. And it wasn't like the Saints blew them out last time. And you can say, they didn't have Michael Thomas, they didn't have Emmanuel Sanders, they didn't have Callaway, this, that, and the third. But they still are a respectable team. They are a prideful team, and the Saints got to be ready. But in order for you to be ready, you got to have a balanced attack. Thank you, Trevi. We're going to move on. Daniel says, what is the status of Patrick Robinson and Josh Hill? Well, Josh Hill has a finger injury. I don't know if he'll be out there or not. I don't know if he'll play. I'm pretty sure if they can probably wrap it up with a cast or something like that, or wrap it up, making sure that, it doesn't cause him any, pain or discomfort. I think he'll be out there, and Josh Hill is important to the team. It may not seem like it because, maybe he ain't catching a ball as much as he once did and all that, especially since the emergence of Adam Troutman. But Josh Hill is a really good blocking tight end. And anytime that he's in a game and he's blocking, especially in the running game, he does his job really well. And Sean Payton really relies on him. I will never forget the NFC Championship game back in 2018 when he left the game with a concussion. And Sean Payton said he had to eliminate about 42 plays because Josh Hill wasn't in the game. And also, man, he was having a good, solid game before he ended up leaving that game. I mean, he had like 2 catches and there was some pretty substantial gains. So hopefully Josh Hill can play. And as far as Patrick Robinson, he was off of IR. He could have played last week, but the Saints held him out, which was a smart idea. You go and you get these guys off the practice squad. You give these other guys that were starters an opportunity to kind of rest up for a potential playoff, a long, lengthy playoff run. And, I think Patrick Robinson will be ready. And we're definitely going to need him in the nickel doing his job. And we all know that Patrick Robinson has been doing really well. I mean, he has played as if, when he was in Philadelphia, when he was ranked according to Pro Football Focus, the best slot corner in football. So when Patrick Robinson is out there, he's making a difference. So I'm pretty sure he's going to be out there and he's coming back at the right time. The New Orleans Saints are getting healthy at the right time. And that's a good thing. Them getting healthy at the right time. Usually it's, going into, the postseason is always these little nicks and all that kind of stuff. Like Alvin Kamara wasn't at 100%. Michael Thomas broke his hand. So it's good to know that it's on the reverse this time, that the Saints actually are getting guys healthier going into the playoffs. So that's a plus. Thank you so much, Daniel. We're going to go to Miles. Miles says, what cap issues do we have? What cap issues are up and coming? Who are likely candidates for trade, contract reconstruction, or flat out cuts? Miles, that's a good question. Yeah. Well, first off, when you get Drew Brees off the books, that's going to free up a lot of money. I do feel like, I don't, of course you're going to have cuts, and of course teams are going to try to use, the money to try to get people to come into the organization that can be beneficial. So you're going to have that. You got to focus on trying to pay people like Ryan Ramczyk, Marshawn Lattimore, Marcus Williams. Like I said, Trey Hendrickson, I don't know, man. He might be a cap casualty. I don't see him coming back to the New Orleans Saints. I can see him probably playing for somebody like the Jets, somebody, that got a lot of cap space, maybe even Jacksonville. I can see him going back to Florida where he played his college football at Florida Atlantic. I can see him probably playing for the Jags. So, there's so many, different things they can do. I'm just more concerned about trying to sign some of these players that are, well, I like to call cornerstone players. I mean, you already got Alvin Kamara, you already got Michael Thomas. You want to keep Ramczyk, and you definitely want to keep Lattimore, in the secondary. So I would say that they need to focus on getting those guys. And of course, you're probably going to have cuts, but you get those cuts because you try to go out here and you try to get your team a little bit better. Kenneth says, do you think the Saints will re-sign Winston and give him a chance to compete for the starting quarterback position? Yes, I do. Kenneth, I really believe that. I really feel like Sean Payton loved Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston is a guy that has a lot of talent. The only issue is a huge issue, especially when you're playing quarterback, and that's turning over the football. You got to be more careful with the football, but I think that Jameis would get better because you have a running game in New Orleans, right? I mean, he didn't have a running game when he was in Tampa. It was him and him alone. You know what I'm saying? It was him throwing the ball all over the place. Now, he wasn't making the smartest decision with the football, but that happens. The more the ball is in the air, there's a strong chance that it's going to be intercepted. And if you're a quarterback still trying to figure it out, still trying to dissect defenses and try to understand different packages that the defense present to you, then you're going to struggle, right? So I just feel like Bruce Arians did not do a really good job putting them in a position to succeed, and neither did Dirk Cutter. These guys didn't do a good job, keeping Jameis Winston focused, and also having an offense around him that can help him be successful. But with the Saints, I think that they can, because it's not the Jameis Winston show. He no longer has that chip on his shoulder, or has the organization on his back. Like, he doesn't have that anymore. When you're the first pick overall, teams expect for you to change the complete foundation of their organization. With the Saints, I mean, you just came in, so you're just a guy now, and that's huge pressure that is lifted off of you. That's why sometimes those first round picks, when they go to teams, it may not pan out the first time around. Then they go somewhere else and they play really well. It's because they no longer have that pressure. You go from being the guy to a guy, and that's huge. You know what I'm saying? Because when you're a guy, it gives you an opportunity to learn, because the expectation has lowered just a tad bit. So when you become the guy, it's like everybody's hopes and dreams are on your shoulders. So I think that was a huge burden for a young quarterback that was still trying to figure it out with Jameis. And now he has an opportunity to sit down and be in a quarterback room with a legendary quarterback, an offensive-minded head coach that understands that I want to make sure that you succeed. So I'm going to take the things that you do good. I'm going to utilize those. And at the same time, while I'm teaching you this, we can run and execute the plays that you're comfortable with. And I can also teach you some things that you may not know. So if I were Jameis Winston, I would definitely try to come back to the Saints organization, because I think that would be a very smart move for him to do. Let's see. Justin says, will Anzalone show up, play very well in the playoffs? Because when he does his job, it frees up Demario Davis in the pass and run. And Alexander was a prime example before he went down. He came in, did his job, and Demario Davis was all over the field. Look, I think Anzalone is going to do a good job. Now, if you're expecting him to be Kwon Alexander, I think you're asking for too much, right? He's not Kwon Alexander. He's Alex Anzalone. Alex Anzalone may not wow you with his linebacker skills, but he's a solid linebacker. And look, everybody can't be Luke Kuechly. Everybody can't be Von Miller. Everybody can't be Khalil Mack. Sometimes people just got to be solid. Sometimes you just got to be a solid linebacker. Solid linebackers, they play in the league for a long time. Look at Kyle Van Noy. You know what I'm saying? He went from Detroit to New England to Miami. Like sometimes guys are like solid guys. They're not going to wow you with their speed. They're not going to wow you with their tackling skills, but they're just fundamentally sound. And Alex Anzalone, that's the best example I have for you. He's a fundamental guy. You know what I'm saying? Like nothing that's going to knock your socks off, but he goes out there, he can make the tackle. The thing about Kwon Alexander was he was so athletic that he was able to kind of just be out there on the field and kind of call his own number. You know what I'm saying? Like that's one of the reasons why that big Miles Sanders play happened, because he shot the wrong gap. But when he does, you know what I'm saying, shoot the right gap, it's always a tackle for loss, or he's always around the football. I mean, he forced like 2 fumbles in 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? With I think it was in a Kansas City game, and also late in the game against Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles. But you're not going to really get that with Alex Anzalone. Alex Anzalone, the coach is going to tell him to shoot that gap, and that's the exact gap that he's going to shoot. Does he leave a lot to be desired on the field? Yes, especially like when he's being called, blitz and stuff like that. But there was a time where Alex Anzalone, we looked at him with a guy that had a lot of potential, especially like his first season and his second season. He was playing really well, and we were like, man, this guy's pretty good. So I do have a lot of confidence in Alex Anzalone, and I think you should too, because I mean it's the next man up, and you look around this linebacker room, who else is going to come in that's going to give you better production than him? I mean, Zach Bond, he's getting better. I mean, he had an uptick with his snaps, but he's still young and he's still trying to figure it out. You got Caden Ellis, who I just feel like is a better special teams linebacker than he is just, a regular linebacker that sideline to sideline. So, I mean, the Saints have they have a very thin linebacker room. And the guys that they have on the field, they got to do the best with what they got. So, Alex Anzalone, I feel like he's going to step up. I believe in him. So that's the way I feel about Anzalone, man, no doubt. RJ Mason says, every time I try to video UTJ, it won't work. Is an app that I got. Well, I don't know, RJ. I mean, you can check me out on YouTube, youtube.com, search The State of the Saints podcast on Facebook. Should be able to check me out on both. So how does the Bears team with Nick Foles we played early this season compare to the playoff team with Mitchell Trubisky at quarterback? That comes from Reyes. Reyes, it's a different team because Mitchell Trubisky is now the quarterback. And also they're putting emphasis on running the football. When you have Montgomery out there, I think the Bears finally figured out that, they could actually run the football. I do feel like Tariq Cohen going down, I think that was very damaging to their offense because he's a guy that can, catch the ball out of the backfield, very elusive. So I think that's something that's missing. But, Montgomery, he can do a lot of zone running, you know what I'm saying, like out there, but the thing about it is, Mitchell Trubisky, biggest issue was they never really tried to put him under center. And now that he's under center, you're getting a lot of play action game going with him. And also Mitchell Trubisky, man, he can hurt you with his legs, okay? If nothing's there, he can run outside the pocket, slide for a first down. So this is going to be a different game. And not to mention, man, Montgomery, I mean, he had almost 100 yards against the Saints last time. I mean, we got to understand that now. I don't want anybody to get it twisted. I think he had about 82 yards in that game. He almost ran for 100 yards, all right? And this was before the Bears started putting emphasis on him running the football. So now that they're putting emphasis on the running game, expect for him to go out there and run it to the left side, okay? So I think the Saints need to be ready. They need to be ready, try to shut down the running game. Because they can't shut down the running game, might be a rough day for him. Because Mitchell Trubisky, you say what you want about him, but the guy can't throw the football. Is he accurate all the time? Absolutely not. But when you have somebody like Allen Robinson out there, who I feel like is one of the most underrated wide receivers in the league, him and Another one, Kenny Golladay. I think they're probably two of the most underrated wide receivers in the National Football League. They can make some things happen. And once again, the game was close last time. So you know that the Chicago Bears are going to be ready. And hopefully the Saints are ready. Going to read one more. This one comes from Josh. Says, what type of injury did Taysom have and any updates? He had a concussion. I think he ended up taking a knee to the helmet. So I haven't heard anything about him yet. Of course, you got the injury reports that's going to come out probably later on today. They'll know who practiced and who didn't. But he is in concussion protocol, I'm pretty sure. Haven't heard anything. Hopefully he'll be able to play. We're going to need Taysom, man, because he is the X factor of this team, man, because he gives a lot of defenses fits because they don't know how to approach it, right? They don't know if he's going to throw the football. They don't know if he's going to run the football. They don't know what he's going to do. So it's hard to scheme against Taysom Hill. So him being on the field, that would be an advantage for the New Orleans Saints. So hopefully Taysom Hill can be back and he clear concussion protocol. But I want to say thank you all for your questions. And once again, feel free to always submit questions to me, facebook.com, search The State of the Saints podcast, or you can email me at stateofthesaints@gmail.com. And this has been the State of the Saints podcast. Thank you so much for checking out the video. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com, search The State of the Saints podcast. And also for those checking out the audio podcast, thank you so much. You can find the audio podcast on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Anchor FM. And follow yours truly on social media, facebook.com, search The State of the Saints podcast, and on Twitter at State of Saints. That's at State of Saints. Till next time, all I got to say is,